Okay, so we got luck. Today, the battery charged after it being completely wiped out on the GoPro. It managed to charge up last night, so we'll be able to do that. Be simpler. I got an extension cord today for power, and we got an entire day to crank this out. We're going to do it all again. We're going to rip it apart. We're going to put it back together. We're going to see if we can get it to go good. And I'll give you an update as soon as I got one. All right, GoPro, stop capture. Okay, well, looks like I'll put on my stupid hat because I did something stupid. I managed to get the brake caliper off and pulled the rotor back out. And if you look in here, my brand new shaft, I managed to divot and make the screw where it comes down. It actually went into the shaft bearing area. I mean, the where the keyway goes. So I'm gonna have to put a little filing on this to get this to smooth out, because this was a nightmare to get back off again. So what happened was, I thought I had it pretty good. I had put a file to hold this here while I slid this on, and then when I pulled it off, it actually slid forward all the way up to here. And so when I actually tightened this down, it tightened down not onto the key, but it tightened down onto the shaft all the way down through there, which is, well, you know it, stupid of me to do. Brand new shaft, messed it up already. So I'm going to try again. I think this time, I don't know, we'll try some like tape or something to try and get it so that it, I don't know. We'll do a little filing and whatever, but well, you know it, just keep messing things up. Okay, it's going to be a long day. All right, GoPro, stop capture. Well, we got a lot of non-progress so far. I guess I could get it really close to the lens. I'm not sure how well that shows up, but that's as far as we got it in there, and it pinched off the end of it as I was, is in a little wedge there in my hand, but it pinched off the end of it. I cannot get the thing to not back down the shaft as I'm hammering it in. I kept a tool here in between trying to get it to work that way, and it's not. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe I need a matchstick or something, like just a sacrificial stick to keep in there to keep it from backing in, and I just leave it in there. Because yeah, I need the key to be what this Allen screw sets on, and if it's only making purchase on the end of it, that's not good. I need it to be like it was before, where it's kind of in the center. So I need to keep it, you know, to where it's right there on the end. So whatever the trick is that they did to do it before, more power to them. But I'm going to have to figure something out. And I think a matchstick is what I'm going to have to do. And just sacrifice it to be living in there with it. I would have tried like tape, but tape's going to be in the way of it actually working itself down the shaft. So I need something to be inside the alley of where the key goes. This is so stupid. GoPro, stop capture. Well, more things came up. I think I'm just going to give up. I guess I'm gaslighting myself a little bit here. Before I switched out the brake cables, I went to go check them out, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get those to work properly. So I need to trim them and get some stuff set up beforehand, the little grommets and gossets and stuff like that. I guess that's not too big of a deal, but then I'd have to take off the other ones to measure their length and stuff, so that way, you know, it'd be okay. And I got the brake caliper on there, and it spins. And I got it rehooked back up, and I wanted to check just to see where we were sitting with the tire. So I got the tire mounted back up there. I got it bolted back on, but it still has play. Like, so I have the brake caliper, the unit in of itself, all the way up against the bearing on the shaft where it mounts. My only other thought as I'm sitting here is that I need to actually back the rotor with its mount in so that it would be pushing against this here so that it doesn't have this play, because there's wobble to it. And you can't get this any tighter. This is as tight as it gets. There is nothing I could do on this side of the unit to get it there. So it's either I need to loosen this up, pull this out, but then that affects the brake caliper in of itself. Granted, it's not a lot. That's that millimeter that I had before. If I would have left it as it was when I first started, maybe it wouldn't have even been an issue. It would have been like, oh wow, perfect, the wobble's gone, everything's perfect. But no, I went through that whole process. There's a matchstick in there now that I had to use and wedge to get it so that I could keep it, so that the key didn't move far enough away so that it would stay. So yeah, we got the wobble. So that's one option, and I guess the other option is that this hub, in of itself, how the bearings are in the guts of it, could be that I have ruined those at some point in time and wrecked it to where it doesn't properly sit right. So I mean, like the front tires, they don't do that. But the back tires have done that, and I'm going to say that pretty much since I had to use a torch, because I'd put the good Loctite on these, because I kept having these screws come off, and then my tires would come rolling past me when I'd stop, and so I was like, you know what, I'm not going to have that anymore. So I put the Loctite on them, but then I needed to take them off, and so to take them off I had to use a torch, and I may have killed whatever gasket or whatever it was, and in the process, anyway, I don't know. All I know is that I'm disheartened, I'm bummed. You know, I was underneath the bike looking at, like, you know, how busted in half the frame is and how pointless this all is. So for now, I think I'm just gonna stick with the one tire change out, and just give up for today and clean up my mess and try again some other day when I have some more I don't know, some more zazz. But for now, it's not like it's gonna get any warmer. It's not like it's gonna get any nicer. I guess one of the nicer things about it is I could get more tri-flow. I only got a little bit in here. It's not going to take much to coat the inside of this here, so that, you know, it has. But even if I coat it, it's still, I mean, the brand new, this significant, you know, resistance. You know, it's not great in my mind. Like, I don't feel, from just because I've had the other ones apart, and when I was pulling on those, they almost felt like the other ones were easier to pull than these ones are. I mean, I might be better off just trying to put the tri-flow in the old ones at this point, but I don't know. I think they're gonna freeze up. It's just not gonna. I'm not gonna be able to use it during the winter like I normally do. You know, so. I don't know. Just bummed out. I think I'm just going to give up for today. whatever. You win some, you lose some. And today, I lose some. All right. GoPro, stop capture. All right. So, I got things off a little early last time. We're working on the other side of the bike now. We've had some things happen in between. I switched out the bike cables for the rear and filled those with a 3-in-1 tri-lube, and I'm excited about that because they didn't freeze over when it was super cold and frozen outside. So I had rear brakes. I haven't dialed them in or anything, but they work. So we still need to switch out our rear tire on the right hand side if you're the driver. So we need to switch this one out and put the new tire on it. We're gonna skip the inner tube again because I'm not gonna drill it out because I need an adapter to. Anyway, we'll go ahead. If the inner tube's fine, we're just gonna go ahead and switch it out. We got spares and stuff like that for a reason. One of the things I noticed, I wasn't even really planning on recording all this just because pretty much just giving up on everything. But when I went to go pull this tire off, this brake rotor was completely loose and came right off. I didn't even have to loosen up the screw at all on it. I was noticing that like this one here was so, and this one looks like pretty close. I mean, like I know I messed with it a little bit originally, but I mean, I guess we'll still switch it out. It's a shame, you know, but we'll put the new one on anyway. We'll switch out the brake pads in here. We got a little experience in it. We know we got to push them way down to get them to clip in. Otherwise, it'll look goofy. So we got that going for us. When I went to pull this off, though, since it was super loose, it just came right off. And then I also seen that just like me, so not only am I the one that does this, but other people do this as well. This makes me feel better in some small way. Let's see if I can grab a rag. I got lots of these. So on the keyway in of itself, you're not gonna be able to see it. I looked back on the other footage and you couldn't see it. Anyway, it barely caught the edge of it when they put it in. So they had the same issue when they went and put this new axle on this. They set the keyway in here like so, and then they put on the rotor like this. They slide this bad boy on, and it pushes it forward. And this only makes purchase on the very tip of it, and it shears it off. So they sheared off the little bit of the tip of it, and that also doesn't give you a good set on it. So I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm going to have a tool that holds like a stick here or whatever. I'm going to sacrifice a matchstick. So there'll be a matchstick that lives inside of the keyway inside of here, which will probably over time disintegrate, destroy the bearing or something like that. I don't know. Ideally, in my mind, as I'm trying to think about like a way to do this without having to lose a matchstick in there so that I can keep it here. You could super glue it. I thought about it. Super gluing it into place might work. Or even disconnecting the whole rear differential, and then you put on these beforehand. You have a tool and you can hold this out into place from the outside, and then as you slide it in with these already in play, with these already on, you're going to be able to pull your tool out. I mean, you're going to have these already tight on here before you ever get them onto this axle. And that's what I've come to figure out. Like, that would be the best way in my mind to do this without losing a matchstick inside of it. So yeah, I think that's going to be our go-to for now. Uh, we're not gonna take the whole thing apart. That's just a nightmare. We're gonna just do it like this. We'll lose the matchstick. It'll work. We'll get this so that it actually stays out towards the edge when we put this together, and then we'll get it wicket tight. We'll have it changed out, brake pads. We'll have the new tire on it as well, and then we'll be able to go from there. I got some of these in. These are slip knot chains, and I spent, enough time to realize that these are 26 by 4 tires, and these are 26 by 4 chains. But these 26 by 4 chains are not, I cannot get them to go all the way around it. One side I can do, holy smokes, but it puckers it on the other side, and I sat there and I massaged it, and I moved the chains, and I got them as straight as I could, and there's just no way. It's not going to link up on the top. It's close. I mean, close by like that much. Maybe add some more, another section to it, or I don't know. I try, you could try adding 2 whole these together end to end, but then you have like, 26 inches of extra loose chain. Not gonna work for you in the end. So we'll just, we'll figure out something to do. The chain in of itself isn't great. I've had lots of, the chains that go on your shoes, and those like go trash like all the time. And you can tell, as soon as you buy them, you pick them up and you feel the chain. You're like, oh man, that's the light chain, and that's what I feel here. It just feels like a light chain. It feels like you're gonna get wrecked real quick. Because I got this thing going sideways on the way home. Just the last turn, I gotta hit some of that frozen stuff that they have on the ground that you can't really see very well, ice. And that had the back end slide around. It was pretty cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and switch all this stuff out and put new brake pads in here. We're gonna pull the brake cables from the front. We're gonna take those inside. We're gonna see if we have enough length left in the actual cable. We cut off to make the long ones for the rear, and that little section that's left, I'm gonna see if that's enough to make it so that it works for the front tires as well, and see if we can make do with that. Otherwise we'll have to order some more, or we'll just take the ones that we take inside. We're going to hang them up. We're going to let all the water try to come out of them over the night, and then fill them up with the 3-in-1 tri-flow, and just kind of massage it back and forth the best we can, and then hook them back up, and go from there until we get like some better replacements. We might go ahead and pull the pads and replace those ones too, just all depending on feeling, how wily I'm feeling about the whole thing. Anyway, didn't get too set up, didn't get my jumpsuit on, but we'll make it work. So this is going to be I don't know, I didn't even bother making the part 2 go out, so this is going to be kind of like a part 2, part 3, multiple day excursion, all time warranted, and how much energy and whatever I got. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. GoPro, stop capture. Dude, we got a new tire on, and got the new brake pads on, and they work. Not dialed in or anything like that, but it's a thing. We got chains on this time, and I think I figured out why I couldn't get them on. Granted, putting 4 of these on before you have to go to work there's no way. You're gonna have to like get up like 8 hours early and just hope that you get them all done, because you can't run on these when it's not snowy and stuff. But I did figure out what was wrong. the turnbuckle on this thing here, there's two little extensions. I guess I could pick up the camera. There's two extensions. You got this one here and this one here. And there was one missing on the back side of it. And I checked through both sets because we have to put 4 sets of chains on. Or anyway, went through all the sets. Everything else has 2 turnbuckles extensions on it, except for this one here. This one was missing one. And it could have been missing one, or I dropped it and I can't find it. And I looked, but you never know. That's life. So I asked the company that makes these, the slip knot traction, if they could just send me, I could buy like 20 of them, that way, because it invariably, if I've lost one already and I wasn't even meaning to put these on today, I just wanted to test it. It tells you should probably test it, putting them on before actually you need them. And so that was my test today. And it'd take you like 8 hours to do these before work if you needed to do it in a pinch. It is not a slick. It's a fight. I thought maybe, with the new tires, maybe with the different knobby pattern, it'd make it a little easier to hook it up, but no, it's not. And these aren't, I don't have them like turnbuckle tight or anything else like that. I managed to get both sides hooked up. Like the other side is one turnbuckle. So I didn't even realize it until I was putting it together, and I finally got it close. I was using string and everything else like that, and just moving it a little bit at a time, and just trying to keep all the tension and get everything as best I can. Because I guess, man, you put enough money into one of these things, you figure like, hey, I might as well give it a good shot. Eventually, anyway. So, we got the new tire on there. We got chains on it, but we're gonna take those off for now. We got the new brake pads in, new rotors on there. Everything's working out pretty good. The brakes work. We're not going to bother trying to test it out. We'll do that trial by fire. Look, you got a tire on the back of it. It's like a vehicle. I'm not even going to bother with the brake pads on the front and the brake cables today. I'm done with it. I've had my fun. We'll deal with it another time. We'll find time to deal with it another time. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think we'll just call this one a good one. We'll just end it here, and be well, take care, take luck, take my shoes if you want. I have spares. All right, GoPro, stop capture.